Hey, what's up? What's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. And tonight we're going to be talking about some very popular hot topics that a lot of people have been talking about in the blogs, and my very unpopular opinion about some of them. Now, oftentimes I give my opinion on things, and it gets the girls feeling like they want to tussle. Okay. But what I want to tell y'all is this is my opinion. The things that I state is not a fact. This is what I think. This is what I feel. This is what I believe. You're entitled to your opinion. Go tussle with your mama. Okay? Period. Because people these days, it be a lot of like herd mentality, sheep mentality. A lot of people thinking the same and feeling like you have to think like them or else you are an evil person. Sometimes we have difference of opinions and we think different things, and I'm entitled to that, period. So I'm going to go on over a couple of my opinions about some of these topics that I've seen a lot of difference of opinions in the blogs, in the comments, and things like that. Shout out to y'all in the chat. Okay. Thank you for the comments. Now, I got a couple hours to kill before it's time for me to pick up my daughter. She goes to her dad on the weekends, and so it's not quite yet my time yet to pick her up. So I got a couple hours to kill and hang out with y'all, talk to y'all, and go over a couple of things. So welcome. Shout out to y'all in the chat, and let's get on into it. What do I want to talk about first? Okay, so the first topic is not a celebrity topic. So I'm going to just go on over this thread that I seen on TikTok, and I found it to be a very, very interesting dialogue, especially since I am a person who co-parents. My daughter goes over her father's house, and this is a conversation that, recently came up amongst me and my friends about how people conduct themselves when it becomes time to exchange their children with the father and the dynamics around it. So when I seen this TikTok, I'm like, oh my God, a lot of people be going through this same stuff. It is so interesting how each person has a different outlook on it. So let me pull up the video, and then after this video, then we're going to get into the celebrity topics. I'm going to talk about 50 Cent and Daphne Joy. I'm going to talk about, what else am I talking about here? Teyana and Iman. What else? There's a couple of celebrity topics that I'm going to breeze through, but let's get into the regular, everyday, schmegular conversation that all of us can kind of relate to in some way or another. So let me pull up the video, okay? So this video is a woman on TikTok, and her TikTok is Mo the Plug. And she brought up this conversation about women who send their kids to their father's house without packing them a bag. Now, before I play her video, I feel like each situation is just that, situational. Every situation is not the same. There are different dynamics to each situation, and I'm going to break that down in my opinion once I play it.
Yo, asking for myself, is moms really out here not sending and spending night bags with their kids when they go to their dad's house? Are we doing that so daddy could buy them clothes? Or what's the reason? Why are you sending your kid to your baby dad's house knowing that this is not their primary address where they live? Knowing that you already can't trust him to even properly dress himself, but you're putting your kid's appearance and all that in his hands. And if you had to not send a bag just to get him to purchase them clothes, that's more the reason to make sure that your kids are good, because clearly he's not putting them first anyway. Clearly
all right,
he's not,
so I'm going to pause her right there.
There
was a woman who did a Stitch reaction to this, and she had an opposite opinion about it. So we're going to hear that, and then I'm going to give my opinion.
So, is moms really out here not sending and spending?
Are we okay? And there's no shade to you who made the video. It's no shade to her, but are we okay? Why have y'all normalized women doing majority of the work when it comes to taking care of these fucking kids? I'm so confused. Y'all have normalized this 75-25. What did she say? Because they're going to their house that's not their primary house. Anywhere their daddy is home, baby. I don't give a fuck if it's at that bitch house, at his mama house, at his house. Once they with the daddy, that's their other house. What? Why would I be packing clothes for them to take to their other house? I'm not doing that shit. That's weird. Why they ain't got what they need? Why have we normalized laying down with men who can't even dress themselves? You can't dress your baby and you was giving up ass and coochie? But I hate being a bitch. I hate being a bitch sometimes. I'm not going for none of that. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going for none of that. When my baby daddy get up tomorrow, he gonna knock on the door. I'm gonna say, Junior, your dad's here. He's gonna go. He's not taking shit. He's gonna take his iPad and his charger. And then he's out of there. He's gone. Then we get to his daddy's house. He's gonna take off his shoes. He's gonna go upstairs to his room that has his bed with his dresser, with his clothes, with his drawers, and his toothbrush in the bathroom, and his... Why would I be hating being a bitch. And it's like I said, it's no shade, but like women have really normalized doing majority of the work. And that child is a reflection of both of y'all. Me and him. That nigga walking around with some shoes on and he ain't got his motherfucking hair cut.
All right, so I'm gonna pause it right there. Now I'm gonna give you guys my opinion. Let me take this off the screen. I feel like every situation is different and every situation is not the same. And there are times where it doesn't make sense for you to send your child their, a spend the night bag. And there are times when I feel like you definitely should. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background on me, right? So I have shared with you guys before that I have a co-parenting relationship with my daughter's father, and she goes to her dad majority of the weekends. So 3 weekends of the month, she at her daddy's house. And this has been constant since she was a baby. Since my baby was a baby, she has had this routine with her father. She has her own room at her father's house. And she is normally at her father's house on the weekend, and that is her second home. Now, in a situation like mine, no, I'm not going to send a bag over to my child's father's house with clothes because she is regularly there majority of the weekends. That you like at that point, if your child is regularly there, then yes, your child's father should have, things for your child there. They should have clothes and, things like that. Now, in situations where your child is not regularly there, you should send your child with the essentials that you need. Now, when I first started to have my co-parenting situation, I was the mom where I was packing a bag. I bought my baby the best clothes ever. That's what I felt like. They may have came from, bargain places because, I was going through clothes so much. I had me some good cute little stuff from Burlington. I had me some cute little baby clothes from Ross. I had me some cute little baby clothes that I really like. You know what I'm saying? And so I was the mom at first where I would literally pack my baby like the cutest stuff to go with her dad. And then when I would get my baby back, I wouldn't have the stuff. And so I'm like, baby, wait, what's going on here? And so then, me and her dad had a conversation and he's like, listen, I will provide her with, as a man, like, I'm not thinking about, okay, this belongs to the mom, this belongs to me, like man brain, he wasn't thinking like, like it was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? He was just like, listen, you send her with clothes, I send her back with some stuff, and that's just what it was. And for me, it was just like, no, I like my particular items. So we came to the agreement that, the stuff at my house is going to stay at my house, and the stuff at his house, he go buy for his house. And that has been working with us ever since she was a baby. This was established when my baby was like months old. This was established. And since then, she has been going to her father regularly. Now, there are situations where the child does not go to the father regularly, okay? So let's say the child goes to the dad, let's say on summer break, and he's not, the child or the daughter or son or whoever is not primarily with the father. They are majority with the mother. The mother gets, child support, income for the child, and things like that. The dad supports the mom, you know what I'm saying? And then on certain breaks like Christmas break or spring break or summer break, the child goes to the father, and it's not really a regular routine. Kids grow out of clothes very often. Like when the size that my daughter started school with in August is not even close to the size that she is right now. So in situations like that, with kids often growing and the child is not regularly with that particular parent, I think that it is imperative that you send your child with the essentials that they need. If your child has not been to their other parent's house in months and months and months, and you send your child with just themselves a gaming system, tablet, or whatever, I feel like as a mother or a parent, I feel like that's irresponsible. I think that, you being a day-to-day parent and you knowing that, all of these phases, I think that it's irresponsible to send your child with absolutely nothing. Now, for me, I feel like my child is an extension of me. Whenever she leaves my house, she represents me, and so even when times when she's at her father's, she still represents me. I just recently had, and it kind of scared me a little bit, I ain't gonna lie, because I try to keep, as far as like my daughter, like her father, who her father is and stuff like that, I don't give too much details about it because the internet is a crazy, crazy place. You know what I'm saying? But recently I had one of my night owls, they sent me a picture of my daughter, and it was at a time when she was with her father, and it kind of spooked me a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, because I was like, she was like, is this your daughter? And I was like, yeah, yeah, that's my daughter, but, it was at a time when she was at her father's house. But, before she had went with her father, I braided up her hair, so in the picture that she sent, my daughter looked like she represent me. You know what I'm saying? Her hair was combed because I braided it before she left. She looked like an extension of me. So it's like, whenever my child is away, she represents me all the time. So the people who feel like, oh, well, however the child look when they with their father, however, I'm like, I just don't really have that mentality. Now, the thing that I do, and that this is just how I've always been, I maintain my daughter's hair all week, but Thursday night, we got to get a fresh wash, upkeep, and everything. Like, the thing that I can control as far as how she looks is her hair. And so I always make sure that before my daughter leaves my house, her hair is done. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to rely on, or bickering about, my daughter's hair wasn't combed, this or that. Like, I'm going to control the things that I can control, and the things that I can't, then, that's just that on that. So I just wanted to speak on that because I found that video to be very interesting because there was a lot of people in the comments, and a lot of people was saying, no, like don't send your child with nobody, and don't not send your child with nobody, but like don't send your kid with no clothes and all this stuff. And I'm like, y'all can't speak definitively about that because each situation is different, okay? Each situation is different. Not each situation is the same. The only time that I hold that standard is regular visits. If it's irregular in any way, I don't agree with that. But that's just my little spiel on that. But yeah, somebody said that would have freaked them out too. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It did freak me out a little bit, but you know, she was like, "Is this your daughter?" And my daughter was out with her father, and I don't know, like with one of his, you know, people or whatever. And then she said that she knew one of the people, not my daughter's father, but she knew like one of the people. And I was like, you know, it kind of like, I was like, oh my God, you know, because I'm gonna be, you know, child. Anyway, moving on. So next topic that I'm gonna talk about is an unpopular opinion, even further. Now, as mothers, okay, as mothers, there are things that are within our control, things that are outside of our control. And in my whole co-parenting journey, I've always learned to control the things that you can control. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that are out of your control, even though it may give you anxiety as a parent, some things you have to trust the other parent. Now, I know that can be hard, but that segues into the next topic, and my opinion on this topic is unpopular from the majority of the comments. Okay, so it's my opinion. It is not a fact. I just want to say that it is how I feel about, you know, what just insight that I've gotten, things that I've felt at certain times. I'm able to identify certain things and call a spade, because there was a lot of things as a parent where I had controlling things, where I was like, I wanted to control every aspect of what happens with my daughter. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to control who she was around. I wanted to know what's going on over, you know what I'm saying? And there was things that as a parent, I had to kind of like, you know, girl, relax. Okay. So let's get into this. So it says, TSR exclusive, Teyana Taylor's attorney clears the air following motion that claims the children were confused after Iman Shumpert's adult sleepover with a female friend. So it says, news broke Thursday evening that Teyana Taylor's attorney filed a motion to ask the court to allow a child psychologist to testify about how divorce can impact the growth and well-being of kids, including when there are unfamiliar or romantically involved adults around the children during and immediately after divorce proceedings. This comes after Teyana Taylor's oldest daughter apparently saw her father, Iman Shumpert, sleeping in the bed with a female friend. According to the court documents, Teyana and Iman's oldest daughter told Teyana that Iman's female friend was sleeping in the bed with her daddy, and that the female friend and her child would be staying with him because her house was broken. The document states that the children have been confused by their father being in bed with the woman and are further confused about the woman and their child staying at their dad's house. Seeing this apparently left their oldest daughter feeling extremely uncomfortable. And it says, the Shade Room spoke to Teyana's attorney, and she exclusively tells us the hope to have a child psychologist and their children's teacher testify is primarily for the well-being of the kids, adding that Teyana is not worried nor concerned about who her ex is dating, and what's important to her is the safety of her kids, remaining aware of who is around them and what they're exposed to, and ensuring neither party is being irresponsible or reckless. The attorney argues that if the roles were reversed, a mother would be deemed unfit in the event her child witnessed them sleeping in the bed with a male friend. Additional parties called to testify in relation to the children include their teachers who will speak to their schooling and education, and a representative who will speak to children being accommodated during work negotiations. All right. So I'm going to give my unpopular opinion. And again, it's my opinion and it's not a fact. So here's the thing. Now, I've never been married. So I am giving an opinion outside of a married woman's perspective and having that type of dynamic. And we know the token happy just to have a ring, happy just to be claiming they married or have, just whatever. Gonna be like, well, I got experience and you don't know because, girl, bye. Okay, I have experience with life. I have experience with being a mother, and I have experience with co-parenting. Therefore, I can give my opinion still. So, with that being said, now, Teyana Taylor is the one who filed for divorce, okay? And she initially filed for divorce with their initials, and it basically sealed off the public from knowing that they were going through a divorce and things like that. 11 months after she had filed for divorce, she then received a response, and Iman filed his response to the divorce 11 months after they were no longer together with their full names, and it kind of made everything public, and we were aware that they were getting a divorce. Now, from the time that this was made public, it has been a minute now. It has been several months. So before it was brought to the public that they were not together, they had already been not together for close to a year, right? 1 month shy of a year. Now, after this, he responds, it's made public. So now that's, I want to say a year, and I want to give it like 6 months or maybe close to 2 years, because since it's been public, it's been a while since we knew. I think it was, I want to say, if I'm going to give like a good guesstimate, we found out about them being public, I want to say it was like maybe September, October of last year. Hold up. Let me look at my Instagram, because I remember posting a post when they were no longer together, and I haven't posted that many. I kind of slowed down on posting on my Instagram, so let me be a little bit more accurate in how long we've known about it being public after they were not together for a year. So here we go. September. So I was close. Did I say September? I found it. All right. So this is a post that I made, and she confirmed that they were not together. This was September of 2023. And at this point, okay, so anyway, so let me get back to I got thrown off by, I don't know what y'all talking about. Anyways, all right, so when she originally filed for divorce, it had been 11 months before it got made public. It got made public in September of 2023, and now we are approaching April of 2024, and now we are hearing about these new sightings and new updated information in the divorce. So that is what, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So March, a year and 6 months, okay, that they had not been together, up until the point where this new situation is happening and she wants to do something about it. Now, my unpopular opinion is this. I feel like unless you feel like your partner will be a danger to your child or allow others to be a danger to your child, you kind of have to, it's either you feel like that your baby daddy don't need to have your child and they won't make good decisions about people around your child, or you kind of have to, as a co-parent, trust that the people who are around your child's father, he being a father is going to protect his children and not bring anybody around the child. Now, as a mother, I know that it is concerning, like, oh my God, there's a woman around my child. You don't want your child to be mistreated, and things like that. But unless you have any indication that the father will allow somebody to abuse your child or has a lapse in judgment pertaining to your child, unless your child is coming back with, bruises or coming back saying that they're being mistreated, sometimes the whole like needing a psychologist and all that, sometimes it sounds a little bit controlling in nature to me. Okay? Because if you think that your children are good enough to go with daddy when he's by himself and that he makes good decisions, your child is going to be safe with him. But then the moment that a person that your father's dating and now your father is suddenly going to have a lapse in judgment, to me, that's kind of conflicting because it's like, which one is it? Is that a good situation for your child to be in, or are you just policing what is happening at your child's father's house? Now, me as a mom, I had to kind of come to grips with that as a mother and giving my child over to her father and trusting that he is going to make the best decisions with my child. Sometimes as a mom, we do get anxiety because we want to protect our children. We want to, make sure that everything that's happening in your care is going to happen in the father's care and things like that. But oftentimes I was always told, Neek, because I would be stressed out like, oh my God, what's happening over there? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from experience of, a concerned mother who had her concerns when my child was away. Okay. But I had people in my life to kind of put things in perspective. Do you not trust the dad has the best intention for your child? Do you feel like her father will allow somebody to harm her? Do you feel like, all of these things? And you have to kind of go through those boxes when you are using your rationale. A lot of parents will just automatically be like, no, I don't want nobody around my children. But then I thought about it because I'm like, could my daughter's father tell me who to have around my child? No, because as a mom, I'm not bringing nobody around my child that's going to harm my child. I'm not bringing nobody around my child. And I know that. So it's like, if he can't police what go on in my house, do I really have the authority without evidence that my child is being abused to police in that type of way to where you feel like, okay, well, my child's seen this. Now, I don't feel like the child should have been exposed to the woman sleeping in the father's bed without a conversation. I will say that. I do believe that in situations that we are introducing to our children, you have to have certain conversations with your child. And I feel like before the father had the woman in the bed, when they went out on an outing, because I think somebody said, I think she's more concerned about the time frame. It's already been a year and 6 months, like I said. And so we can't really police other people's time frame. It's either he's a negligent father or he's not. That's like, you know what I'm saying? You can't police that. Now, would you do it? Would I do it? No. It take me a long time to even let anybody meet my child. It takes a long time for me to know them, for them to meet my child. But everybody is not on the same time thing or whatever. But what I will say, like I said, is I think what it was alleged was that they went to Sky Zone. I think in another report it has said something about they had went to Sky Zone, the girl that he's dating now, her child, and his children, and they all went to Sky Zone together. And then following Sky Zone, I believe from a report, it said that they kind of went to the house, they fell asleep, and then when the baby had seen him, I could be wrong or not, I don't know, but this is from what I remember from another report. Then he gave the baby a BS story about, oh, her house is broken and all of this stuff like that. I think that he should have just kept it real with the child, okay? Kids are are smarter than we think. Kids are observing more than we think. Kids are sponges and they're retaining information daily. So the oldest child, Junie, is around my daughter's age, I want to say, if not a little younger, but she's old enough for her father and her mother to have a conversation. Will she understand everything? No. She won't understand everything about the dynamics, but she understands enough to understand mommy and daddy are no longer together. And, daddy may be exploring other options and things like that. She's old enough to know the basics. So before she found her father in bed with the girl, they should have had the conversation with her and not BS'd her about it. Like, be real about it. But to the point where, it's like, oh, I need to get a psychologist to see the damages and, I don't know. Some of that kind of sounds like control to me. That's my opinion. Okay? Nobody's saying don't be a concerned mother, because I'm concerned all the time. I'm still checking shit when it comes to my child, no matter who my child is with, family, father, friend, whoever. If anything feels wrong, I'm concerned parent through and through. So I'm not telling you not to be a concerned parent. I'm just telling you from one co-parent to another that it benefits us to control the things that we can control. Okay? Somebody said, tell that to children that have been harmed mentally or physically by their parent spouse. Unfortunately, some of the best parents pick the worst spouses. So again, I'm not saying that a spouse cannot do something wrong to the child or the spouse cannot be the wrong pick. What I'm saying is, if your child displays symptoms of being abused or like you feel like something's wrong, then yes, you explore it. But just because your child or your other child has a spouse does not mean that it's a negative thing. Okay? I say get a psychologist because I saw my parents doing it and child. I understand that could probably be traumatizing seeing your parents do it. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. You said those signs are not always present. So what's the solution? Not live your life because you worried about what? Like, so what? What's the alternative that her father should do, since the signs are not always present and all of the things that you're saying from a very negative point of view? So should the father never move on? Never, like, what is the solution to that then? Are you saying that he should just because some of y'all's rationale don't be realistic, and I'm talking about being realistic. Okay? Now, again, that's not saying that, we see stories every day of step parents harming children or things happening. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying that sometimes we have to distinguish if this is us being controlling or if our children are actually in danger, and for us to control the things that we can control and not control. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what's the solution here? Like, what do we do? Like, what do we do? Just never date? Just never, because it, like, what? It's like people go to concerts and there have been concerts that get shot up. People have gone to movie theaters and the movie theater got shot up. People have gone to parades and the parade people got trampled over and ran over. So it's like, do we stop living life because things can happen? No. That's not realistic. I'm still going to go to the movies. I'm not really a concert person, but if there was somebody that I really wanted to see in concert, I'm still going to go. I'm still going to go out and enjoy my life. You get one life. So it's like, But anyways, that's my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own, and people have different experiences for things that they went through. Okay. So moving on to the next topic. Let's see what y'all saying. Ooh, somebody said, let me sip my buzz haul. Wait, they still got those? Like the little buzz balls? The little buzz balls? Somebody said, my stepmother was crazy to me, so I'll admit I'm overly vigilant on both sides. Again, my mom married a man that I absolutely hated. Did not like him. He did not like me. And it just was one of those things. But I'm not going to create that fear for my child to fear her step parent because I had a situation where I didn't like my step parent. Unless my child tells me or I see dissociative behavior or a change in behavior or whatever, then I'm going to trust that things are okay. I ask my child all the time, how do you feel about this? How did things go with your stepmom? How did, and you talk to your child. You ask them how they feel. And you're not going to always know everything that's going on with their lives. You're not going to always know, but you can still not try to create fear or panic. And that's what some of y'all be doing because something happened to you guys. Y'all create this fear and this panic in the child. You could be vigilant by just creating a safe space for your child to come to you with problems, creating a safe space for your child to talk to you, creating a safe space for your child to open up to you and create dialogue. Now, I'm not saying I'm the perfect parent because I'm not, but I have a very good relationship with my daughter. I'm not saying that I know everything that she do because my mom didn't know everything that I did. Okay? She didn't. There was things that, I had one time, my mom never heard me say a curse word ever. Okay? She never, when I was around my daughter's age, right? And I've never heard my daughter say a curse word, right? Around my daughter's age, in front of my mama, I didn't say no curse words. I didn't, nothing like that. And then there was this one day, right, where I cursed the bus driver out, honey. I called the bus driver a bag of B, you got me effed up, be this, be that, be this, be that, be that, blah, blah, blah. I get my mama, woo, 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 like the whole nine, baby. Around the time, I think I was in middle school, maybe like the 6th grade. So I was a little bit older than my daughter, probably like a year older than my daughter. I cursed the bus driver out. Okay. And when my mom first heard it, she was like, my daughter don't even curse or whatever. And then she looked at me or whatever, because she was taking up for me, blindly taking up for me. Like, my daughter, you lying on my child. My daughter would never. Okay. My daughter would never. And then she looked at me and asked me, did you? And I was like, and when she looked at me, she was like, oop. You cussed out the bus driver? And so I think from that moment on, my mom realized that, like, she don't know everything about me. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say this. There are things that you may not know. You may not know if the child is being mistreated. You may not know. But keep an open dialogue as much as possible. Okay? Keep an open dialogue as much as possible. Make your children feel comfortable coming to you about things. Okay? And not everything is I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway. But anyway, it is what it is. That's just my thoughts, period. So let's move on. I just don't think that our experiences will automatically be our children's experiences. And we could be vigilant about things without making our our kids weary about things, right? So here's another thing that I would say, right? So my mom, when she was a child, she was younger, she was a kid, she was tampered with by one of her family members, okay? Which is one of my family members, okay? So because my mom was tampered with, she never allowed me to spend the night at my friend's house. And when it came to me going over family members' house, she was very, very selective on which family member's house I could go to. Like, it was maybe like my auntie and I think like one other family member that I may have been able to spend a night at their house. But my mom was very, very, very selective, okay? And so me growing up, I didn't know that, you know, like, oh my God, there could be creepy family members. Like, my mom was vigilant without making me feel or robbing me of my childhood and my innocence. Okay? So my mom was vigilant. So I say that to say you could be vigilant without pushing what happened to you completely on your children, okay? Because there are some people who, you know, have been tampered with by a family member, and they will put that fear into their children, you know? And it's like, you could be vigilant, you can incorporate things, you could keep a watchful eye, and without robbing your child of their innocence or, you know, things like that. So anyways, moving on. Y'all get my drift. Anyways, but so I was fortunate because my mom was vigilant that I never had a situation where I was tampered with. I never had a situation where I was, you know, nothing, because my mama, she was on it. So I thank her for that, you know, but I also thank her for not making me feel scared of being around certain family members, because, you know what I'm saying? She just was a mom and made sure, come over here. All right. You know, like, Anyway, somebody said I hate the phrase tamper with. Well, other words trigger the algorithm, so I will use safer words. Tanel says, agreed. Actually, by that, I mean, no one has qualified to meet our son on either side yet, but he knows his dad dates. My son told me I need to start. Girl, Tanel, you better get you a date. Oh boy was trying to shoot his shot with you too. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, somebody said I'm guilty of that and I went to therapy for it. It still didn't change, but it gave me another way to see things. I like that way of saying it better than the comment away. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. All right, so the next topic that I feel like I may have an unpopular opinion about is this whole 50 Cent and Daphne Joy situation. I have an unpopular opinion about it. And so it's like a lot of the topics are about like kids, custody. So I just tied these kind of together because it's like the same type of theme within the different stories. So I decided to like tie them kind of together. So the next story that I'm going to talk about is 50 Cent and Daphne Joy. Now, 50 Cent dated Daphne Joy, who I believe she started out as a model. And she is she Asian? I don't know her background. She looks Asian. I don't know from what part. So anyways, he dated Daphne, who is not black, and she was kind of paraded around with him, you know? Like when we first started seeing 50 Cent and Daphne Joy, it came after he had this very, very public toxic exchange with his first baby mama. And it came after he basically disowned his first son. It came after there was allegations. I think there was an allegation. I don't know. I think there was an allegation that the baby mama house got burned down, or, you know, it just was a lot of toxicity between 50 Cent, his first baby mama, and his first child. And that dynamic just, you know, being kind of pushed to the side. Now, when he got with Daphney Joy, he paraded her around like his token, okay? He paraded her around like the child that they had was their golden child, like he was the it child, and he poured all of his time, energy into creating the most lavish birthdays, the most lavish experiences with the son that he had with his exotical Miss Daphney. Okay? So Daphney and him had a very public relationship. They would, even after their relationship, they would be co-parenting, and you would see them always throwing these lavish parties, and there would always be conversation about like, dang, if you could pour this much into this child, why is it so unforgivable to try to even make an effort with your first child? And it started to be like, it started to feel some type of way that, you know, his black child was just totally abandoned. And I don't care about, you know, some of the things that people are like, well, his son said something about him before, or his son, that's his damn son. If his son ain't tried to murder for hire him or try to take him out, there was nothing that nobody said about his first son that sound like it was an unforgivable situation that warranted him being disowned. Out of all of the excuses that people would make, I still to this day have never heard an excuse as to why he deserved to be disowned. Now, later in life, when the boy was an adult, okay, as he was an adult or closer to being an adult, I think the son of the guy who shot 50 Cent, like tried to take a pic, like he took a picture with 50 Cent's son or whatever, but this was like years after the boy had long been abandoned, okay? And then people was like, see, like, yeah, he need to disown his son, and they were like giving him a right to disown his son after he was closer to adult, because I think he took a picture. It was a picture with the nephew of the guy, or it was something, but 50 Cent's son claimed he didn't know who the boy was. The boy just asked for a picture and then ended up on the internet. And I believe that could have happened, you know? But yet and still, I still heard no excuse that validated him totally disowning his child. Now, when he got with Daphney, that child was, like I said, the it child. So fast forward to them breaking up, and Daphney moves on, and she starts to date P. Diddy. Okay? She starts to date P. Diddy. I don't know what their arrangement was, but at the same time that Daphney was dating P. Diddy, I believe Gina also was, I think it was one time where I think Daphney was it was like a award show that happened in Las Vegas. Daphney was at the award show, Carisha was at the award show, and Gina was all at the award show together, okay? And, you know, Carisha and Gina, they were kind of like beefing or whatever on who been able to hump him. And Daphney was just, you know, quietly supporting her man. And then even after that, I believe P. Diddy had, I want to say like a party. And Young Miami was at the party. Daphney was at the party. And it seemed like, you know, they all was kind of, you know, getting their time in. And then later after that, it came out that P. Diddy had a whole nother baby mama in the making this whole time with that. So that was kind of their dynamic. And I just assumed that they all had a poly acceptance of, girl, you get the bag on your time, I get the bag on my time, and you get the bag on your time. And that's kind of seemed like, you know, what their arrangement was. That's kind of what it seemed like. I don't know for sure. So anyways, fast forward to now, Diddy's house gets raided by Homeland Security. And even before that, there was a lawsuit that was filed by a guy by the name of Little Rod. So Little Rod basically posted in his lawsuit allegations that Daphney Joy was a Kuda box worker. Okay, that she worked her Kuda box for Puffy, and he also alleged that Young Miami worked her Kuda box for Puffy as well. So this is the excerpt from the lawsuit, and this is what it says. It says, Robin Greenhill, the accountant, would ensure the wiring funds transfer or cash payments to the Kuda box workers Frankie Centella, Moy Bond, Brendan Paul, and KK would also be responsible for ensuring payment to the Kuda box workers in cash. Young Miami, Jade, and Daphney Joy were paid a monthly fee to work as Mr. Combs' Kuda box workers and receive payment via wire transfer from Robert Greenhill, which outlined defendant's ongoing criminal operation. So, somebody said, how you spell Kuda box? Girl, you spell it just fine, honey. You spell it just fine. So anyway, this kind of hit the internet, and everybody kind of went crazy at the accusation that Young Miami was a Kuda box worker and that Daphney Joy was a Kuda box worker, and the internet was set ablaze by the accusation of the pink sniff and them working the Kuda box for a monthly fee and everything like that. So the internet started to basically troll the situation in shock because they like, wait, what's going on here? Like, Young Miami was doing a doo-doo-doo and all of that. So let me show you some of people's reaction to the allegation of them supposedly selling a whippersnapper. So hold on, let me make this a little, all right, so this is some of the reactions right here that we gonna go over. So this was mostly people reacting to Young Miami, but this was them reacting to the allegation. So it says, so Young Miami doing the sniff and gets some cousins. Diddy's sons are dirty as him. Diddy and his son shot a man, left him there. Okay, so anyways. So somebody said, not Young Miami being a Kuda box worker for Diddy and doing the sniff with him. Another person says, of all the terrible things I'm sure are in this document, Young Miami doing the sniff is what was the most important to highlight, ? Another person says, ends in court documents for Kuda box trafficking, and y'all bringing up the sniff. Young Miami doing the sniff is the least of the problem. Another person says, Young Miami talking about where did her hate train come from? You literally weird, doing sniff, sitting around complacent while your billionaire boyfriend are people. And so these are people that are running with allegations as if they were true, but nonetheless, they were people reacting to the allegation of them supposedly being Kuda box workers. Now, a person who joined in was 50 Cent. So 50 Cent replied, hold on, where is it? 50 Cent replied, and this is what he said. He said, I didn't know, hold on, wait. He said, I didn't know you was a Kuda box worker, you little Kuda box worker, LOL. Yo, this ish is a movie. And then he put his brand in him, and he looked kind of small right here. He looked real skinny, and people was like, ooh, 50 Cent lost weight, like, whoa, and they was like cheering him on about that or whatever, while he was basically trolling his baby mama. So in the midst of him basically trolling his baby mama with these allegations, there was sources that alleged that he was trying to take full custody from her. Okay, so there was then claims that so hold on, I'm jumping ahead. So he started trolling her, and this is what she said. Hold on. So she posted a video where she was kind of looked like she may have been crying, And she said, I wouldn't wish this on any woman. God hears me, and that's all that matters. And she was crying. Okay. So then in another post, she said, I am deeply hurt by the lies in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. The claim that I am a Kuda box worker is 100% false and character assassination. I am retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney. So after that, then she made a post directly to 50 Cent. And she said, Curtis James Jackson, everything is a joke to you until our safety is compromised, which is happening now. You are wreaking real havoc, frenzy, and chaos onto people's lives. How would you feel if Sire was the one in handcuffs for nothing? We moved to New York to give you the opportunity to be a father to your son, and you saw him 10 times out of the 2 years that we lived 1 mile away from you. I am tired of upholding and protecting an image to our son that you have never earned. Let's put the real focus on your true evil actions of R-ing me and physically abusing me. You are no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point on. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve our family. With these last and final false claims made against me, you have broken our hearts for the last and final time. So that was her response to 50 Cent. And I understand how she feels about it. And a lot of people, because there are people who feel like, well, you chose these exoticals, and, you know, people feel some type of way about black men not dating black women. And when there's the allegation of said person who is not black, they automatically go to the assumption that they are telling a lie on them, and it is because they didn't choose black. Okay. And that is the theme that I saw in a lot of comments was, oh, you know, you chose this exotical, so that's what you get for not being with a black woman. And, you know, a lot of people were discrediting her, saying that he didn't R-word her. And a lot of comments were saying that who moves closer to a person that R-worded them and things like that. And for me, I don't know if he R-worded her or not, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and discredit her accusation because I don't know. I wasn't there. But what I will say is a lot of people in these comments are acting like every situation is the same. A person who was in a relationship with you and you were intimate with them on several occasions and you created a child with them, you had a relationship where you guys did hanky-panky several times, is not the same dynamic of a stranger taking your Kuda box randomly off the street, or somebody creeping in your bedroom or taking advantage of you while you're drunk and you feeling a very, 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 very vengeful, approach to that person. Now, our wording is wrong no matter the dynamic, but the dynamics are not the same. A person's reaction to an intimate partner that they already shared intimacy with and is not going to be the same as a stranger taking your Kuda box. Okay? So I kept seeing people say, oh, who would move closer to a person that R-worded them? It's like they have a child together. And so the dynamic of her moving closer to 50 Cent is not the same as the dynamic of her moving closer to somebody who randomly saw her at a party, drunk, slumped over, and just took her panties off and start going to town or whatever, Somebody said that doesn't mean it's okay to get lied on or okay to be R-worded. Again, we don't know what's true or what's false. So I'm not going to say that it's true or not true. I don't know. All I can say is that for the people speaking definitively about what they would do or wouldn't do are speaking from a place that is from situations that are not from the same dynamic. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So a mother who is trying to, um, you know, somebody said you've jumped to defend her motives and threw black women under the bus is wild. Where did I throw black women under the bus? I repeated what comments are under the blogs. Or do you feel like I should read them to verify them to you? Because how did I throw black women under the bus? By reading a blog, seeing what people commented, and referring to what I saw and seeing the profiles, who they came from. So do you feel like it's less throwing black women under the bus if I pulled up the comments and read them to you? So do I need to go under each blog and read? So let's do that, since I'm throwing black women under the bus, like these comments ain't under these damn blogs. Am I lying on black women? Am I lying? Like, I'm not lying. Am I lying? Did I lie? Let's go to the comments, because I'm guessing I'm lying. So let's go to the comments. Let's go to the comments. You literally said it's about black women being jealous about that they chose exoticals. Are you a hit dog? Are you hollering? Like, what? That sound like a hit dog hollering type of thing, because if it don't apply, let it fly. If it don't apply, let it fly. Am I saying that every single black woman is jealous of him choosing an exotical? No. What I'm saying is, if there is any person who is black that is a male and they get posted on any blog with a woman that is not black, they get ripped to shreds for that. I have been a person who have side-eyed some of the unions and relationships, because some of it be looking like, Angie said, Nick, I saw the same comments. You are not lying at all. Girl, what is going on? Shoot. Somebody said, who really wants to date 50 Cent? Girl, people be loaned the bag, honey. They don't give a damn. They be wanting the bag. Anyways, hold on. Let me go to some of these comments, though. Real quick. Let me go to some of these comments. Somebody says, so now we sympathizing with lot lizards. If this was his first BM, the comments would look a lot different, in my opinion. Why she upload a video of her crown? Let me see. Hold on, I think it might have been Shade Room. Shade Room was brutal. Let's pull some of these up. Jen said, I do not identify as an exotical. I'm sorry, Jen. Okay, so somebody says, so we're gonna act like she didn't come on here and accuse 50 of R-word and abuse, then say she moved all the way to NY, a mile away from him, so he can be closer to his son before her account got deactivated. Someone says, so you weren't selling it? Did you rent it out? 50 Cent having the time of her life. Somebody said, hold on. Somebody said, ma'am, there is evidence, but save yourself. Nobody got no reason to lie on her. She is not important. Hold on, wait. Hold on, I'm trying to find. Because these comments be different when I go on, hold on.
Even if you're a little sex worker, and even if you're a little sex worker, and even if you're a little sex worker.
Hold on, y'all. Anyways, I can't find the thread, but y'all know I ain't lying. Anyways, so hold on, wait. It was another angle of that. Hold on one second. So my point is this. My unpopular opinion on the whole situation is this. I don't agree with the cheering of 50 Cent behavior. I don't think a lot of the antics that he do is cute. I don't think that using this as an opportunity to now say, oh, I want to seek full custody of my child because somebody made an accusation in a court, in the lawsuit, and then you go from trolling your baby mama to then trying to say, well, I'm just going to take full custody from her and all of that, because I don't agree with it. I think that is very petty. I don't agree with his petty actions. You paraded this woman. She was the best thing ever while you was using her to diss your other son and using this son to kind of diss your first baby mama and your first son. So all in all, the point of me bringing him up was to say, I don't agree with the petty antics. I don't agree with him now using this as a ploy to try to take custody. And I do not agree with him engaging in trolling his baby mama for the sake of his child. At the end of the day, you have a child with her. So even if you feel like, okay, she might have been selling her Cuda box or whatever, that's something that you file a lawsuit or you file your papers and you take action. But to engage in bullying your baby mama for the sake of entertainment and for a laugh when your child can look up these things and see the things that you're saying about their mother, I don't think that is cool. I don't think that is cute. I feel like his child is at the age to where he can get on social media. He can see the things that his father is saying, and that is going to alienate the relationship or strain the relationship that he has with his mother, with his father, and things like that. I don't think everything is a click interview. I don't think everything is entertainment. I don't think everything is funny. And I don't think that it's cool. I think that him trolling her was probably hurtful. And I do think that when somebody try to take your child and try to play with your child, it's like, nigga, don't play with me. Like, you was in a relationship with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't use an opportunity to pile on for shits and giggles for the internet. So my unpopular opinion on it is the opposite of most of the comments that I seen, where people felt like it was funny and humorous for him to kind of like start taking jabs at her. I felt like it was immature, and I felt like nobody ever holds him accountable the same way that y'all hold other people accountable for going at other people. Let it be Boosie saying something about the LGBT. It's all HE double hockey sticks breaking loose. But if it's 50 Cent trolling women, going at women, or you know, it be stuff that's not even his business, and he just, you know, goes and try to humiliate people, I don't find entertainment in it. I don't think it's cute, and I don't agree with it at all, period. So that's my opinion on that. A lot of people, and the reason why I feel like my opinion is an unpopular opinion is because people were villainizing her in the comments. People were villainizing her by, accusing her of being a liar. They were villainizing her by automatically saying that, her baby should be taken. They were villainizing her by making the accusations true and making that be a reason that they felt like her child should be taken from her and stuff like that. And I just don't agree with it at all unless he has solid proof that some of these things is going on. I just don't agree. I feel like parents should parent and you should handle adult stuff with other adults and all of that like that. Like even me, as far as having a co-parent, I don't have always colorful things to say about, my other co-parent or whatever. But I have a daughter that's 10 who know how to work the internet. I'm not going to get up here and be just saying all kind of outlandish stuff. Like when I have a child at the end of the day that has to see these things either online, and even if my child don't see them online, and even if I put all the safeguards, parental controls on my child's phone, and I block the shade room and I block the blogs, and even if I block all of the websites from my child's phone, the child is still in school, okay? And so if your child is still in school, you could have all of the best parental controls on your child's phone. What goes on the internet will become schoolyard chatter. And when that boy goes to school, even if the mom shields him from things that he sees online, he got friends and even, kids that probably ain't his friends, like, hey, that they already have to, oh, thank you, Sean, hey. They already have to worry about schoolhouse people bullying him, saying his mom is, a Kuda box worker or whatever. And it's like, hey, didn't you see your daddy? Your daddy confirmed that your mama was, and it's just like, sometimes we have to protect our kids, even if we don't like the other parent, by not being petty and going below the belt. Like that. But yeah, so those were the topics that I wanted to talk about. James Wright Chanel also spoke about the Krishan incident. That don't really tie into kind of like the theme of things that we talked about today. So I'll probably make a separate video of that. But I want to open up the floor, and I'm going to open up the StreamYard and have some conversations with some of y'all, and y'all tell me what y'all think. And don't think that you have to agree, because I know that there are strong feelings that are opposite of what I think. And I kind of want to hear, some of y'all out. Now, if y'all get too cuckoo crazy, then, we're going to have to shut it down, because sometimes people get a little too beside themselves sometimes in these call-ins. But I'm going to hope that it being Sunday, that, I'm going to hope, because it's Sunday, that we gonna have a little couth. We're gonna have some couth today. We're gonna have some couth today. Hold on, let me fix my camera. Hold on, y'all. Right. We're gonna have some decorum. Okay, there we go. What was that about? It was not working at first. All right, cool. All right, so let me drop the StreamYard link, and y'all come on and tell me what y'all think. It's a rainy day in California today, so I got a little while before. Y'all are funny. In the meantime, y'all know I do have a website, www.neekatnight.com. Y'all can go shop my website, neekatnight.com, and y'all can get all kind of goodies, because, a lot of stuff a lot of people be uptight too, and instead of getting these baby daddies and baby mamas that you gonna hate and you ain't gonna like, go to my website and get you a little toy. Get you, you ain't gotta be stuck with no ninja that you despise and all of that. You can do a zoom, zoom, zoom and a vroom, vroom and be very satisfied and happy with yourself. Okay, so oh, what's up, Yousef? How you doing?
Hey, Nick, you look gorgeous
Thank you.
as always.
What's your
And
thoughts?
I agree with you for the most part because, and I'm not saying it just to go along and get along. I literally been looking at this from the outside looking in, and they're both being dusty. He's being petty, you know what I mean, and she's being petty too. They both knew each other for the trash that they were. They both accepted each other for who and what they were. He knew that she was an ex-worker.
Oop, oop,
He,
oop, oop.
I said ex.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, so I said ex-boo. You know I don't be cussing no more.
Go ahead.
Right. But he said, they both being petty. It's like, you know each other's dirty laundry and you know the lower sides of each other, but then you want to act like you too much when the public gets a hold of it. Now that we heard about
it's been
it.
proven that she was a Kuda box worker?
Not that I know of, but I'm just saying far as the type of chicks that he liked too. And he been competing with Diddy. You see what I'm saying? He's mad, and so because like he already knew that she was over there with Diddy, so now all of a sudden he got a problem with it once the blogs got it. You see, and the allegations from him years ago. I mean, he's no better really to be trying to thinking that he's exposing Diddy like he's somebody better. A lot of them want to be able to get away with that type of degeneracy, controlling and having and doing whatever types of women that they want to. So he's essentially hating on Diddy because Diddy has more money, more power, and more bees. So that's the way he's looking at it. And so, now this is something else to throw in his face, like he don't want to just take it on the chin and be like, well, this is who I chose to have a child with. And then second of all, he's also a dusty dad. Does no good for the children. If you don't love a child that look just like you, that's your spitting image. You ain't gonna like the child that don't look like you. And he swore up and down that he treated that child so much better and it was his preferential child and all of that after he treated the other one like that. And so now he just wants to get custody just because it came out something that he already knew. He did the same thing with Cassie's images that he said that he had. He's trash. And she's the same way. She's just fighting fire with fire when it comes to him. That's why she reminded everybody of them abuse allegations and burning down her house.
Oh, no, she didn't say nothing about the burning of the house, I believe, was the first baby mama, not this baby mama.
Oh, so a history of violence, not just prone to it. Understood. Yeah. And so he got the room to be trying to expose daddy. Anyway, but thanks, Neek. Shout out to the Night Owls.
All right, shout out your channel.
Yes, Celebrity and Crime, Intergalactic News Galaxy.
Ooh, that's going to be hard for them to type, Yousef.
Well, I'm in the comments.
All right.
All right.
All right, Courtney.
Hey, Nick, thanks for letting me up.
Okay.
He just said everything that I was thinking. Like, people in the comments, y'all going hard for 50. Let's talk about how 50 don't even like his mother. Let's start there. A man that has mommy issues and never resolved his mommy issues. He does not like women, Black women, Asian women, the exotic women that he tries to put on this pedestal. He does not like them either because he has deep-rooted mother issues that he never fixed. First, y'all caping for a man that dogged his first baby mama out, disowned his first son, like he said, that looks exactly like him, was parading on IG how he was ready for the child support to stop, and how he, constantly taunted his own son. And y'all sitting up here caping for this man. This man in 2013, he had charges for assaulting his baby mom. So it's not like she just pulled this stuff out of thin air. Half of y'all probably don't even know the story. Y'all wouldn't even know who she was had this not come out in the court documents. So how do you know what she has put out there before without any research? Because y'all don't be knowing. Y'all just be saying whatever y'all read that particular day, then y'all go with it. Lil Rod, one thing I have a problem with him. I'm a person that likes to fact check. I like to read court documents. Cassie's documents were very detailed to her experience with Diddy for the 10 years that she was with him, with her experience. Lil Rod has amended his
lawsuit 3 times. That's unheard of. That's really unheard of for a lawyer to do, amend a lawsuit like 3 times. He's amended the lawsuit 3 times. First, he was going at the angle he didn't get paid for songs. Then his stories have gotten more and more outlandish. I'm not saying that he did not see some things and some things are not truths, but some things are embellishments in my opinion. It's like 2 truths and a lie. I'm gonna get this
I
because
agree.
you
I
you
mean,
did.
that's really what it sounds like.
Yeah, you paid Cassie in 24 hours. I'm broke over here, and I'm trying to see what I know a little bit of something, and I'm gonna add a little spice onto it because I need that payday. And people are so gullible on the internet that they are running with anything. Everybody knows he's been with Daphne Joy. If you know anything about the entertainment industry, you know that Daphne Joy has been one of the women in his harem for a while. You know that Young Miami. So throwing their names out does not mean anything unless you have to have proof. Like somebody could come up and say today, Courtney did this, and I would be in their lawsuit in their document, but I still have an opportunity to prove my innocence. And nobody even gives people the benefit of the doubt. Some random person says something, y'all run with it without even knowing. Like, I'm not saying these people are innocent by any means, but I'm just saying y'all don't fact check anything. Y'all just go with the sensationalism of what people put out there. And Lil Rod is really, if you look at his documentation, if you look at his history and his lawsuit that he's provided and his lawyer, is his credibility is kind of, and y'all caping for 50. 50 knew what type of woman this woman was. This is his child's mother. He knows who she is, how she is. He's acting like a bitter baby daddy. His woman got took, like the guy before me said, his woman got took by Diddy, who has more money, a little bit more powerful than him in the industry, and his baby mama been over there since. And so now that Diddy is having his fall, now he has, he feels like he has the last laugh, but his background is not clean enough to laugh at anybody. You're laughing because it's him right now. Laugh today, cry tomorrow. Because I'm sure Cuban got some stories. I'm sure we know Daphne has some stories. She, like I said, 2013, she pressed charges and he served time on probation. Um, we know Shaniqua, the first baby mama, has stories. We know Marquise, the first son, has told his story several times. So I just people caping for a black man because he's black and he don't even like women, black women in particularly. Stop the cap. Take the cape off. Save the cape for another day. That's my whole thing.
All right, all right, all right. And I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I feel like majority of the stuff that they say P. Diddy did, I feel like a lot of the stuff he did, but I don't just blindly believe everything. Okay, like just because it's said and because I know that, he has done shady stuff before doesn't mean that I'm going to believe everything. And I think that's kind of what be happening a lot of times in social media. It'll be like, all right, well, we seen Diddy slap Drake. So if there's another allegation that Diddy slapped somebody, it's automatically believed because we've seen that. But it's like, that doesn't mean that, but we know that he done some stuff. He is a shady character. But anyway, Amory.
Hello?
Hey.
Hi, can you hear me? Good afternoon. Yeah. I wanted to say, if you have a certain age, Diddy been a problem. It's funny to see like a Stevie J had a whole like a gospel gospel moment, showing his support. Stevie, you nasty, and been doing underhanded things as well. 50 Cent is always been a menace. Yes, he did that first baby mama wrong, but then he'll say things like Marquise, who has his whole face. If he got hit by a bus, he wouldn't die. What? So I feel like he had always put more attention on his, what do you want to call it? Ambiguous son with Daphne, little light bright sire. But he knew Daphne. Daphne was in them streets. He knew that beforehand. She's one of those well known in the industry, just like what's that girl name? Ooh, I can't even think of it. But like a princess who was with Floyd Mayweather first. There's a certain level of these exoticals right? That are passed around the industry from hand to hand, powerful man to powerful man. And Daphne Joy is no different. But he knew this about her. So to try to embarrass her or clown her at this point is wild. And even if she is a hex worker, right, it doesn't affect her ability to parent. So just because this guy put her name in the middle of this stuff now all of a sudden she's a bad parent. 50, did you ever observe your son, with bruises on him? Was he ever dirty, hungry? That's number one. And then this artist is losing credibility because he keeps amending this lawsuit. So off jump, I was like, oh, Diddy's going down. But he's losing credibility by
And
constantly
then one of
amending.
the screenshots, I believe I read somewhere that the screenshot that he had of Stevie J, where it was supposed to have been Stevie J busting open a white dude, wasn't that like a orange star, not Stevie?
I'm not even sure. I didn't see that, girl. It been so much audio and
Okay,
stuff.
I thought there was something like
Look,
that.
Meek Mill, and dude, it's been a lot of things. Did you hear that audio
Which audio?
of Meek Mill and what's supposed to be Diddy?
No.
Girl, search the net when you get off here. There is an audio that is supposed to be Meek Mill and Diddy having hex. That's what's out there now. So they on everybody associated with Diddy. But like I said, if you have a certain age, it was just a matter of time. When you get, I feel like it's not a black person thing. They're like, oh, it's a witch hunt. Oh, they took Bill Cosby down because he was gonna buy a studio. It's not that. It is men with power and money, and they do these things and think they'll never get caught, which is why Russell Simmons is in Bali, and they just served that brother up. Bill Cosby got him. R.
Okay,
Kelly, that took years.
the people in the comments are saying the audio was AI and that it was not real. I haven't heard it, but people are saying that it's not real.
Oh, on the Meek Mill?
They're saying that it was AI.
Yeah, that's why you can't believe everything. But my point is, all these things are coming out now. You know what I mean? Surrounding Diddy, right? So if everybody's gonna want to say, yeah, he kicked my cat, and it's like, come on, stop. But he's done enough in his lifetime to be taken down. So even if it's not current, I don't believe Carisha is a hex worker. I think she was a young girl. It was a sugar daddy-like situation, and she was living it up. I don't
Somebody
bit more
said the
believe.
audio of Meek Mill and Diddy was some urban orange star, and they said that they watched it personally and they compared for research purposes.
Oh, somebody saw it?
They said it was another corn star video. And they said they watched it for research purposes. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I mean, I haven't heard it.
I'm going to say this real quick and I'm going to get off in relation to the exoticals. And I hate to say it like that, but there are women that are put on a higher pedestal than, the average brown girl, kinky hair, brown skin, right? The Daphney Joys. What's that woman named? Joy Travis. This woman got 3 babies, about 3 Bow Wow, Future, and now a football player. But this is okay, right? No ring on her finger. Oh, and she was one and used to be in Diddy's harem as well, right? But because they light bright or other, it's okay. So like I said, 50 knew Daphne was in them streets before this happened. Now you want to take Sire. The woman said you haven't seen him more than 10 times since they moved closer to you. Now she's labeled as a hex worker, and now you want to take the son you don't even see. It's a lot going on. That's all I know on a Sunday afternoon. So thanks for having me up.
Joy's name because I know her from LA, and I hung out with her several times before she was a baby, before she had a baby with Bow Wow, and after. But yeah, it's always funny to hear when people bring up Joy. But yeah.
It's just relevant. You know what I mean? It's relevant. There are, like I said, it's not just all exoticals, but it is like a fetish. It's fetishism. You know what I mean? So, Joy, after I guess 50 and what's her name? Shaniqua, he was like, no more brown girls for me. But then like I said, that relationship with his son is so disgusting. He literally said if Marquise was, I believe he said, hit by a bus, he wouldn't be upset about it or something. And that's horrible. Whether you choose to deal with him or not, that's still your son. But to wish, him, unalived is disgusting. So whatever, listen, if they got 50 surviving 50 up next, I'm here for it. I do believe Jay is in that queue as well. So keep your eyes peeled because there've been rumblings that Bay is leaving, and that will probably be before the takedown of Jay. But based on what's her name, Kathy? Remember his side situation, and she came up unalived. So
Well,
yeah, a
somebody in
lot
the
of I
comment
believe.
section, they had they had a question for you, and I mean, I can answer it, but I think you can answer it too. They said, "So everybody lying on Diddy?" Question mark.
No, they are not. That's the thing. But I feel like his supporters, like the Stevie J and thing, I feel like we put these stars on a pedestal. They're just men, you know what I mean? They're men with money and affluence and power. So no, everybody's not lying on Diddy. But then it becomes murky because some people are just gonna throw logs on a fire because it's already going. You know what I mean? But trust and believe Diddy has done enough with the with hard narcotics. And look at that Cassie lawsuit. It came up one day, it was closed out the next. They could not afford for all of those details to get out of what he did to that girl over a 10-year span of time. And he did it. And she was there for the ride, but at the end of the day, she was victimized. So she got her coin and Cassie rolled off. But yeah, no, everyone's not lying on Diddy. They're just not.
Right. Yeah, and that's how I feel. I don't think that everybody's lying on him, but just because I feel like he done shady stuff, don't mean that I'm gonna believe everything.
Precisely. Right. Because
That's the
look,
only
like
point that
now
I was
everybody going to
making.
throw a log on. Right. Remember when New York opened that opened up the statute of limitations for things, we got the mayor facing charges from 94. You understand what I'm saying to you? So some of that is going to get murky. Did it really happen, or is it just that they opened up the statute of limitations? Now I could say you grabbed my booty at a party in '89. You understand? So it was closed. But even Mayor Adams in New York City right now is facing SA charges. So Me Too, this opened up statute is a lot of people a lot of people faves. Stop putting these people on pedestals because they about to crumble.
Yeah.
But thanks for having me up here.
All right. Did you see me talking about Teyana Taylor in that situation?
No, I missed it. What with her? Shumpert what happened with Teyana?
Okay, well we're gonna have
that he's supposed to have took all her money, like $4 million.
Oh no, I didn't hear about that part.
He's supposed to have taken $4 million out of their joint account.
Oh, I didn't hear about
$4 million.
No, I was talking about the other situation with the woman that slept over.
Oh. Ooh, no, I'm not familiar with that one, but that's another messy one because they had all kinds of people in between there. But listen, when you putting these people in your beds, and if you're gonna be married. But I've always felt Teyana, was flexible, and it's just about to get more messy. All the details coming out, him, dipping in the bank accounts, her going back and forth with one of the side pieces. It's gonna get real ugly before they can get that separated. Poor Junie and other baby. I forgot the other baby's name. Poor kids.
All right, thank you.
So long.
All right. You coming up here to troll?
Why would I troll you?
Oh, okay. 'Cause I thought you was this guy that be trolling that.
No, I love you.
Oh, okay. I thought you was this guy because I think he's like a stan of her too, and he be tripping. So.
This is still Black History Month, and I want everybody to go see the movie. Shirley. I mean, Women's History Month.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I just have a difference of opinion.
Okay, I want to hear you out.
Okay, so I just think that I don't think either one of them might be great parents, right? But I'm talking about 50 and his baby mama. Definitely. But I don't have a problem with a man asking for custody of his kids. Okay, everybody is not perfect, and I wasn't aware that sex work was legal in either Miami or in California. And if he has a problem with his child being in that type of environment, there might be things that I don't know about. I mean, he might find out the boy is being, he's over at the house and all this stuff is going on. So
you think that she would be bringing dates home? Is that what you're saying?
No, if Puffy is rich, right? He probably got a nanny over there if they had these freak parties over his place. He has a very big home. I don't know them from a can of paint, but I just don't think there is some kind of I don't think he's a good dad and talking about his kids online. But I also, when you have enough money, I don't necessarily would be her name is written in something. So I'm married for a long time, but if we weren't together and I found out there were some charges and my kid was over there, then I would go to court and I let the judge decide. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't necessarily want my kid in that environment.
In the chat, someone said 50 Cent didn't even visit his son before. I think he's being spiteful. 50 Cent kind of confirmed that in his response, because Daphney said, I moved close to you and you only seen your son 10 times in 2 years. And then 50 Cent's reply was, oh, well, she's mad because I was busy or something like that. So it sounds like he was not that active. So you don't think that it's out of spite?
I don't know the rationale, but let's say, for instance, you're not an active father because you're on tour all the daggone time, right? But then you found out something's happening. Then you be like, wait a minute, I need to slow down. Maybe I need to go take him on tour with me or get, a nanny. I don't know, but that is his choice. Just because somebody isn't active now doesn't mean, and I don't know, how old is the child?
I don't know how old the child is.
The child, sometimes a child reaches a
10 or so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For me, like raising boys, you get to a certain age where I think that if me and my husband weren't together, then maybe my husband needs to, take over some of that time. You know what I mean? Because these are times where maybe he's thinking he's an older man now, right? The same mistakes he made with his other kids, maybe he doesn't want to make with this one. And so if my baby mama is all over the media and is put as a sex worker, that would, I would raise my eyebrows a little bit and let the judge decide, because the judge could say, look, you're not even active and these are just pending charges and you have no evidence that she's done anything wrong with the kid, because the kid's probably old enough to say where they want to be. That's just my opinion. I just don't think it's anything wrong with a father asking to be a father, especially if they haven't been there. Maybe it's time for him to step up.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the other topics?
Well, I think that I've always known Puffy to be a low down dirty dog, and you know what I'm gonna blame? I'm blame Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner had that Playboy mansion. All this stuff been going on for years, and then black people try to do it, and that man's dead now. You know what I'm saying? And now it's all coming out. I like the fact that women are taking a stand and say you can't do this to me, because this is normal. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up in the 90s. Everybody's like, oh, you just touch people, or the freak nick was the freak nick. You know what I'm saying? Now we're recognizing women cannot just be objects. But when you want to be in a certain limelight in Hollywood and all sorts of stuff, and be a music industry person, it becomes the norm. And I think that when everybody's speaking out, we're going to change the way that you can treat women in order for them to be successful.
All right.
That's all I got, but I never want you to think I troll you. I just love you to death.
Oh, no. It was the name. It was the name. No,
I'm a fan of.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to say, but it was just the name that I thought, by you putting those words together, I thought that it was another troll. That's it. It was just a name. But all right, thank you so much.
And happy Easter. Thank you.
All right, you too. Happy Easter. Tanel, hey boo. Hello, Tanel.
Hey, Neek. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You had some difference of opinions. Let me hear them.
I know. I wish I could call and give a difference of opinion, because see, I came in late. I missed the Teyana and Iman thing. I was trying to kind of catch in on that. He had somebody in the bed with the baby, or not with he caught
the baby
someone
in while he was sleeping with the girlfriend, I think. Yeah, the girlfriend.
Yeah. See, that's something, as I'm trying to move into figuring out, how to do that in a responsible way. That's something that is interesting, because that's crazy. The child should meet the person first, and it should be conversations. But no, I do think, how did you put it? Yeah, sometimes people's traumas and things that they've gone through, yeah, you can put too much on other stuff, and you can kind of steal your children's childhood because of things that may have happened. So that's kind of where I came in with that whole thing. But yeah, you can't have everybody just meeting your kids. You can't have every and anybody.
It definitely should,
but you also
definitely should be serious people only. But I feel like if he to the point where he moving the girl in and the mama in, that sounds like a serious situation to me.
Yes. And then there should be steps, and then you can't be on the other side.
Serious.
Right, and you can't be on the other side then mad trying to stall it or make it difficult for the child or put, bad feelings around that. And then for the Diddy thing, I wonder what you all think about the idea that, Puff, of course, he's been doing what people know he's been doing, but he's not the only one. How do you feel about the idea that he's kind of now it's time to be the sacrifice? Because there are people higher than him that are not going to go down, who are right on par with him, who are not going to go down. So as things are coming out, and once he's settled with Cassie, and yes, Lil Rod is changing his story, and there are things that now you're adding to the sauce, maybe to make it more, maybe give the feds a reason to go in and see what's in there, see what you have. And maybe they're looking for things to not hide to protect Diddy, but to protect whoever else might be in the mix. So that's something as it's almost like, how magic tricks work. Look at this over here so you don't see what's going on over there. Like, it seems like some of all that's coming up is really salacious, things that people are like, ooh, what? And then the actual behind the scenes could be far more detrimental, and that's never going to be known.
I don't agree with the he's a sacrifice narrative, but I do agree that there has been a lot of salacious headlines. I think that Diddy has done a lot of people wrong, and I think that in the industry, you would literally be blackballed if you spoke out about certain people. Now, I don't know if the guy, Little Rod, if all of his accusations are true or not true. I really don't know. He could be telling the truth. I don't know. But I don't agree with the narrative. Because you asked, like, what do I think about it? So I'm just going to tell you. I don't agree with the narrative that he's just some sacrificial lamb because of other people doing it. I think that a lot of people are finding their voice. A lot of people are starting to speak up, and it's a lot less. You used to be able to silence people with blackballing them, and they would be dead from the internet. But I mean, they would be dead from the industry. But now we live in a digital space to where you do something to somebody, they put it out there online. It's not really as easy to just silence people as it was back in the day. So I think that, because Cassie filed her lawsuit and it settled in record number times. I think that prompted people to be like, wait a minute, you know what? I let him slide, but I'm not about to let him slide. And I think it prompted other people to want a payday and possibly get justice as well. Is all of it because they feel like they're getting justice? I don't know. If some of it feels like, you know what, you wronged me and you gonna pay, maybe that could be part of it. But I don't think that it's because he was some sacrificial lamb. I think that he did people wrong, and it's been a lot of, from the Tupacs to the Shine situation to just a lot of people who he had under his bad boy, people feeling like they were robbed from royalties, people feeling like that he just wasn't a good person. And I feel like his time has just come to where people are fed up and speaking out. Now, again, do I think that everything is true just because I feel like he's not so great of a person? No, but I do recognize that he has done shady things, and there has been confirmation on some of the tactics. Even as of recently, I think he wanted to give the artist publishing or something like that. But
yes, and that was like, supposedly seemed like that was to silence them before anything.
Yeah, like he wanted to give them publishing, but in order for them to get the publishing, they had to like sign
do an NDA or something.
Like an NDA where they couldn't speak negatively about him or something like that. So it's like his team.
Yeah, anybody who wants to take your voice, you already know they're doing dirt. If they're trying to take your voice, you already know. But I guess, so on this, let me clarify on this Easter Sunday by sacrificial lamb, not that maybe he got so big for his britches that he thought, oh, I can do all of this and I'm never going to go down because I'm who I am. but he didn't necessarily account for the fact, yeah, you may be you, but there are other yous who might be just as big, if not bigger. And this train needs to keep on chugging, and we're not going to let it stop for your black ass, for you, sir. So that's, I guess, what I mean by that. And I will say, because we had a brief, I hopped on when you were talking about the Nickelodeon, the whole Dan Schneider, that whole thing. And in terms of this industry and what people do and how they stay silent and complicit and things that are known, but they might not even be known. You can't say it. I mentioned I worked on the Victoria set, and I didn't like Dan's energy of how he let those kids fawn over him when it was time to go, like when it was time to say bye. And the kids were like doing the Hollywood thing that people do, like, oh my God, it was so great to be on set. Thank you for having me. And the things that actresses can do that can lean very close to the edge of, now you're a Me Too. And the things that can lean very close to, oh, you were very close to the line of ingratiating yourself because you know that that's what this business so called requires. But now you've ingratiated yourself to the point of, you can't come back. You should be able to come back. You should always have the right to come back, but you can't. And now it's turned into this other thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't like that because I felt that energy too as an actress. And I felt like, oh, I can't do that. I don't have that in me. I don't wish I had that in me, but I see that not having that in me is kind of keeping me from certain places and certain rooms and certain things maybe. And I didn't like, as it was time to leave, that Dan was sitting in his little director's chair by the little monitor and the kids were saying goodbye. I didn't like his energy. And I can't say I saw a single thing to ever say anything about, but it was just, damn. And I said that to say it's a lot of people in rooms watching things and doing things that they walking up to a line and they don't realize that line is not a line, it's a precipice. It's a cliff. And once you fall off of it, man, the climb up is crazy. And so with Diddy, he was a master of that precipice. He was the master of that line. But you can't pretend that a lot of people didn't know what that line was. I'm not talking about underage people, but I'm talking about adults. You can't pretend that people can't look at that line. They just don't understand. Sometimes even people who are standing next to you looking at the line, they might push you in the back and push you right over that cliff. So sometimes people don't account for all the things. They think like, oh, that ain't gonna happen to me because I'm not gonna do X, Y, Z, but you don't realize you're in too close a proximity to even say now what's gonna happen to you because you got close to that line. So I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It gets a lot, it's a lot of muddy waters on what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And before you know it, you done kind of went over the line sometimes. And sometimes, you know, you realize later, like, wait a minute, that wasn't right. Or, you know, so, I mean, I understand what you mean.
Okay. And I know you're in LA too. So I know you. Yeah, I know you.
Wait, what? Huh?
No, I know you're in LA too. I know you, when you mentioned the person that you knew from back in the day, like, especially you see people like, oh, I know her before she had such and such baby. Or I know her before they did this. So I just know you from, I don't know you, but meaning from things you may have seen, things I've seen, like, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I done been around Hollywood. I done been in these streets. Okay. I done, witnessed some things myself as it pertains to just atmosphere, environment, personality traits.
Yes.
Different things like that. Not all nefarious things, but just you kind of, when you hear something about somebody and you've been around close proximity to that person, you're like, I can see, that or this or whatever. But we shall see how the cookie crumbles. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to turn out to be. But they on Diddy neck. I don't think that everybody is lying on him, but I don't believe every allegation either. So we just gonna have to find the truth in the middle and see what his reckoning is going to totally be. All right?
Yeah.
So thank you, Tanel.
Thank you, Nick. You always do such a bomb job. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
All right, you too. Janae?
I feel like this is an unpopular opinion, but I actually do not believe that Tanisha or Daphne Joy are sex workers.
All right, try to
I feel
like
like
cold word it, but go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't believe that that's true. And one of the reasons I don't really believe it to be true is because I feel like Lil Rod has already proven to be somewhat of a liar. Because when he first filed his lawsuit, he claimed that Diddy and his son, I think it was Justin, were either partying with underage girls or something about underage girls. And he had a screenshot that showed women, at least a few women with blurred out faces that he claimed that these were like the examples of some of the underage girls that were at this party. But it came out that one of the girls with the blurred faces was actually Justin's girlfriend, who was a whole adult. And another one of the girls who had a blurred face in that lawsuit came out, and she was a woman in her 30s. That was like one strike already for me. And then the screenshot of the alleged sex tape with Stevie J. The reason why like that's insane to me because this sex tape actually came out
All right.
years ago.
Cold words.
I'm sorry. But this tape came out years ago. And I remember seeing that clip a long time ago. And that actor, whatever that was in the video, he had already admitted back then that was him in the video. So when this came out, I was like, does anybody else not remember this? Because this I think it was Jocelyn who talked about this tape a long time ago. This is maybe because I watched Love and Hip Hop back then that I remember this, and it was all in the blog back then. But yeah, just like the inaccuracies of this lawsuit, I feel like people don't always, or maybe they're unaware that just because you're sued, just because something is said in a lawsuit doesn't make it fact. Like you still got to go to court and actually prove it. I think it's unfortunate that as far as Daphne Joy goes, that 50 Cent is trolling her and calling her a little, worker or whatever. When, like she said, that she had moved closer to him and he only seen his son 10 times in 10 years, but he wants to he doesn't only want to take full custody, he wants to take sole custody of this child. And she has been with Diddy for years at this point. So I don't know. Am I a person who would take up for Diddy? Absolutely not. I feel like Diddy is a menace, and he has been a menace for decades. And I usually believe majority of the things that come out about him, about what he's done. But this is the first time, as far as the recent lawsuits, that I questioned. It's only because of those two, I feel like, major things. These are something that could have been, especially the tape. That's something that could have like easily been fact checked before you put this in a lawsuit. It just makes him not as credible to me. And even some of the other screenshots, like him with Cuba Gooding Jr., what he accused Cuba of. I'm not saying it's not possible that Cuba could have done that, but the picture of this him with his like arm around him, this could have been anything. You know how many people take pictures and you put your arm around a person to take a picture of it, but now it's labeled as like something more than what it may have been just for the purpose of this lawsuit. And I also will have a question for you, because I'm actually curious because Lil Rod is suing Diddy, but then he's including all these other people in the lawsuit that really don't even have anything to do with him. Like to me, what Cuba, I understand because he's accusing Cuba of doing things too. But with Young Miami and Daphne Joy, it really has nothing to do with him. So why is he including all these other famous people just because they were around Diddy? So like, what does that prove?
If I'm gonna guess, I think he's establishing a pattern. I guess he's establishing his character, and I guess he is trying to show that, like, if he did these things with these people, then you gotta believe me that he did this with me or whatever. So I think it goes to credibility.
Okay. Because part of me was thinking like, okay, he's just including all these random famous people to just to get this lawsuit more attention.
It was including Meek Mill, including supposedly Chris Brown, Usher, Young Miami, Daphne Joy, like all these people. You say this, you use all these big names in a lawsuit, and it draws more attention because now people are really paying attention to it. I think people would have paid attention anyway because Diddy is a hot topic, and especially after that Cassie lawsuit. But I don't know. I just give Lil Ryan a big side eye. I'm not saying nothing bad happened to him because, like I said, I don't trust Diddy, and I think Diddy is a menace. That's all I have to say.
So on that note, we will be out. Thank you, Janae.
You're welcome.
All right, y'all. Well, that concludes our talk. I gotta go now. I gotta go pick my child up. Okay. And head on the rest of my day. It's 2:00 here, so I gotta get going. It's raining. I hate driving in the rain, so I gotta tackle that. But thank y'all for coming and watching this video. And remember, you ain't gotta be messing with no dusty baby daddy, no dusty baby mama. I got toys for the men, for the girls. I got all of the things on my website. We have some really good deals going on over there at www.neekatnight.com. So instead of dealing with these bum dudes or these bum women, get you a little vroom, vroom, vroom and a boom, boom from my website. And I